The champagne flute nearly slipped from my grip as my sister's words cut through the celebratory din of the country club banquet. It's just embarrassing, honestly. Sarah and her little restaurant job. Dad's paying for her rent again this month. Diana's voice carried just enough to reach me as I approached their table, gift bag in hand. My father, whose birthday we were celebrating, nodded in solemn agreement while my mother patted his arm sympathetically. They hadn't seen me yet. 3 feet away, I stood frozen in my simple black dress, the one Diana had mocked last Christmas as clearance rack chic. The bartender caught my eye with a look of concern. He recognized me immediately, though not as the struggling eldest Walker daughter my family was describing. No, he knew me as the owner who had approved his salary increase last month. My name is Nicole. I'm 32 and a restaurant owner. This is the story of how I transformed from family disappointment to the empire they never saw coming. 6 months ago, I'd purchased Harrington Country Club, the very establishment where my family had flaunted their membership for decades. I hadn't told them, just like I hadn't mentioned buying Lumiere, the French restaurant where they celebrated every special occasion, or Castillo, where my sister hosted her engagement party, or the 29 other high-end establishments across 3 continents that comprised Walker Restaurant Group, named with a private satisfaction they'd never appreciated. I'd lived modestly by choice, reinvesting profits rather than flaunting wealth. My apartment was small but functional, my wardrobe practical rather than designer-filled. These choices weren't from necessity but priority, something my status-obsessed family never understood. Poor Sarah. My mother sighed, adjusting her diamond bracelet. If only she'd taken that position at your firm, Richard. My father swirled his scotch. Too stubborn for her own good. Restaurant management instead of finance? What a waste of potential. The words echoed previous conversations, ones where they'd refused to support my MBA in hospitality management, where they'd laughed at my business plan, where they'd introduced me at family gatherings as Sarah still figuring things out, while Diana was following in her father's footsteps. I straightened my shoulders and approached their table. "Happy birthday, Dad," I said, placing the small gift beside his plate. Diana looked up, her smile tightening when she saw me. "Oh, Sarah. We didn't see you there." Her eyes flicked dismissively over my dress. "Glad you could make it. We were just discussing the new chef here. Isn't the food divine?" "The scallops are particularly good," I agreed, taking the empty seat. "Chef Liam has an innovative approach to seafood." My father frowned. "You've eaten here before? I thought this place was outside your budget constraints." "I manage," I said simply. "Well," my mother interjected, clearly trying to change the subject, "Diana was just telling us about their trip to Paris. They dined at Lumiere. Richard, remember when we had to wait 6 months for a reservation there?" Diana preened. The maitre d' recognized the Walker name immediately. We were seated at the best table. "Of course they did," I murmured, accepting the wine list from the approaching server. "Ms. Walker," he said respectfully, "Chef Liam mentioned you might stop by tonight. He's prepared something special for the table." My father's hand paused midway to his glass. My mother's smile froze. Diana's eyes darted between me and the server. "Thank you, Brett," I replied. "That would be lovely." As Brett departed, silence descended on the table. My father cleared his throat. "You know the chef here?" I took a sip of water, savoring the moment. "I know all my chefs, Dad." "Your chefs?" Diana's voice rose slightly. "Yes," I set down my glass. "All 32 of them." 32 what? My mother's fork clattered against her plate. "Restaurants," I said calmly, "including this country club, Lumiere in Paris, and Castillo, where you hosted your engagement party last spring, Diana." The silence that followed had weight, density, texture. My father's face cycled through confusion, disbelief, and something approaching fear. Diana's mouth opened and closed without sound. "That's not possible," my father finally managed. "You live in that tiny apartment. You shop at normal stores. You dash." "Because I choose to," I interrupted. "Unlike some people, I don't measure success by what I wear or where I live." Brett returned with a bottle of wine, a rare vintage worth more than Diana's designer purse. "Your usual selection, Ms. Walker?" "Perfect. Thank you." As Brett poured, I watched realization dawn across their faces. "6 years ago," I continued, "when you refused to support my MBA program, told me I was wasting my potential on serving food, I took out loans. When you bragged about Diana's junior position at your firm while dismissing my little restaurant job, I was restructuring Lumiere from near bankruptcy to the most exclusive reservation in the city. I leveraged that first success to secure investor funding for my second and third acquisitions, and within 3 years had established enough credibility with banks to expand internationally. My phone buzzed, likely my London team with updates on our newest location. I ignored it. "But your apartment," my mother whispered. "Your clothes." "Our choices," I finished. "I prefer investing in my staff's health care and education benefits rather than showing off wealth I don't need to prove." Chef Liam approached personally with the first course, a dish not yet on the regular menu. "Ms. Walker, I'd value your opinion on this new scallop preparation before we add it to the permanent menu." "Thank you, Liam. It looks exquisite." As he departed, my father leaned forward, his investment banker brain visibly calculating the value of my empire. "Sarah, why didn't you tell us?" "Why would I?" I sampled the scallop, perfectly seared. "You made it abundantly clear that my career choice wasn't worth acknowledging." Diana's phone buzzed, probably one of her country club friends who'd spotted us and was spreading the word about who really owned their favorite establishment. "Is that why you never joined our family vacations?" my mother asked. "You said you couldn't afford to come to London last summer." "I was in London," I replied, "overseeing construction of my new restaurant. I just stayed in my penthouse instead of the family hotel." Brett approached again. "Ms. Walker, that investment group is calling again. They're offering to buy the restaurant chain." "Tell them what I always tell them, Brett. Not for sale at any price." My father nearly dropped his glass. "Investment group?" "Morgan Stanley," I said casually. "They've been trying to acquire us for months, offered 12 times earnings last week." The look on his face, the investment banker who had dismissed my business plan years ago, was priceless. "About reservations," Diana began, calculation replacing shock. "I'd love to bring some friends to Lumiere next month." "Your name doesn't guarantee special treatment anymore," I cut her off. "In fact, you might find some of our establishments mysteriously booked when you call." "But the staff tells me everything, Diana. Our customer management system flags your name and alerts managers whenever you make reservations. Every attempted name drop, every time you were rude to my employees, every complaint about prices that you charged to Dad's account." I smiled. "I know everything that happens in my restaurants." My mother tried a different approach. "Darling, you must let us host a celebration. To think our daughter is such a successful restaurant owner." "Funny," I observed. "That wasn't worth celebrating when you thought I was just managing one place." Brett appeared with a folder. "The wine list for London, Ms. Walker, and Mr. Thompson called about the Tokyo location." My father's head snapped up. "Tokyo?" "Opening next spring," I confirmed, "though I'm sure Diana can tell you all about it. She was just there last month trying to use the Walker name to get a reservation at my Paris restaurant. Our reservation system is integrated across all locations, so I receive notifications when family members book tables." Diana had the grace to blush. I didn't know. Clearly. I stood, smoothing my dress, actually a handmade piece from a small Parisian atelier. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to speak with my chef." But it's Dad's birthday dinner, my mother protested weakly. And I've paid for it, I replied, as I've paid for every meal you've had in my establishments for the past year without your knowledge. Our system automatically identifies Walker family credit cards, but processes them normally. I gestured to Brett. Please make sure my family has everything they need. Add the usual gratuity to their bill. Their bill? Diana squeaked. Of course, I smiled. Just because I own the place doesn't mean everything's free. That wouldn't be good business, would it, Dad? In the kitchen, Chef Liam greeted me with enthusiasm, showing me the planned menu for London. Through the kitchen's viewing window, I could see my family huddled in uncomfortable conversation. My phone buzzed with texts from Diana. I'm sorry for everything, for how we treated you. From Mom. We were wrong, so wrong. And finally, from Dad. I never saw it. Your vision, your potential. Can we talk, please? I typed a single response to all of them. Reservations required. 3-month waiting list, no exceptions. Then I turned back to Chef Liam's brilliant creations, to the empire I'd built while they weren't watching, to the success they'd never seen coming. Later that night, as I walked through my modest apartment, actually the entire top floor of the building, minimally furnished because I preferred it that way, I looked at the framed review from when I'd first bought Lumiere. Unknown buyer transforms struggling restaurant into culinary empire. Unknown, underestimated, unstoppable. I picked up my phone and sent one final text to my family. Next time you judge someone's worth, remember the person you're looking down on might actually own the ground you're standing on. Then I opened my laptop to review plans for the Tokyo location. After all, success isn't about proving others wrong, it's about continuing to prove yourself right. And sometimes, the sweetest taste isn't in the finest wine or the perfect scallop. It's in the moment they realize they've been dining in your success all along.